60 over 85 minus 24 over 85. Let's say be real careful. We're at 36 over 85. Okay. We still got 10 minutes, dude. Okay. Actually, I want to do one more kind of like this. For 7-3. Okay. Alpha is in quadrant 3. Beta's in quadrant 1. And they're both acute angles. We know that sine of alpha is -4/5 and secant of beta is 5/3. So they gave us more information this time. So we're going to have some things that are negative. It's the only thing that's different on it. So we know alpha's in quadrant 3. That's what they tell us. So we're going to think about quadrant 3. That's this guy down here. Looks like this. This is our alpha. What do we know about our alpha? Yep, 5 goes on our hypotenuse. That's not the pen. 5 goes on our hypotenuse, and our opposite is going to be a -4. We're in quadrant 3, so we know for sure that that vertical piece is negative. So what are we going to get for our adjacent side? A -3. It's still a 3, 4, 5 triangle, but since we're in quadrant 3, we know both our x and y are negative. So what is our cosine of alpha, since we already know sine? What's cosine of alpha? -3 over 5. Okay. Beta's being a little weird on us. We know beta's in quadrant 1. They tell us that here. And we know that our secant is 5 over 3. So we're, quadrant 1 is going to look like this. This is our beta. So what pieces do we know here? Yeah, because this is, remember, because secant is our inverse of cosine, right? Or our upside of cosine. So cosine is normally our adjacent over our hypotenuse. So I know my adjacent is 3. And our hypotenuse is 5, so my opposite is 4. But they're all positive because it's quadrant 1. So what is my sine of beta? 4 over 5. And what is my cosine of beta? 3 over 5. So we've got really similar pieces. So we can find our angle sum using our formula. Our sine of alpha plus beta. That's going to give us our sine alpha cosine beta. Sine uses the same sign, so plus sine beta cosine alpha. So that's going to be our -4/5. Cosine beta is 3/5. Plus our sine of beta, which was our 4/5 cosine alpha, -3/5. Okay. What do we get for our left direction? This one? Ooh, careful, careful, careful. -12 over 25. Plus, yep, another one, another -12 over 25. So what do we get? -24 over 25. Okay. Cosine is very similar. We're just using our cosine formula, so we're going to take our cosine alpha, cosine beta, minus sine alpha sine beta. See, we're starting to get these equations. Yes, dear.
When it comes to whether you like comes to multiplication of like whether you put sine first or cosine first.
Oh, these two pieces, when we multiply, it doesn't matter. Just like 2 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 2. Order does not matter in multiplication.
You know it's supposed to be like sine and cosine together versus cosine and cosine together.
It's all about the formulas. The sines have one of each. The cosines have them separated. So sine wants to work together. Of course, it froze again. Cosines like to keep our cosines together. There we go. All right, so let's finish this one out. Our cosine of alpha, that's when we have our negative 3/5. And our cosine of beta is 3/5 minus sine of alpha, which is negative 4/5, careful. And our sine of beta is positive 4/5. So what do we get? What is negative 3/5 times? So negative 9/25 minus negative 16/25. Which then, yep, we notice we are double negative here. That's going to become a plus. So negative 9/25 plus 16/25. 7/25. Yeah. I just heard too many different answers, so sometimes I wait till we get a little bit more of a consensus. Okay. So that's everything in 7-3. Everything in 7-3. We will, I was going to say, we got 3 minutes left. So, I was going to say, I'll show you how it starts. We're going to look at taking two angles. We're going to start by looking at them as sums. So, we're going to take sine of 2 times an angle. We're going to write it as sine of u plus u. How do I do sums? Sine of the sine angle, that's when we do our sine of u sine, or cosine u, right? Plus. Does it matter?
No.
Because they're exactly the same, right?
Oh yeah.
So then we'd have our cosine u sine u, right? So what are we going to get if I simplify that? Those things are the same, right? We have how many sine u's times cosine u's? 2 sine u cosine u. So we're working on kind of building formulas for these based off of our addition and subtraction formulas. So that's what we're going to start with on Monday. We're going to go through these and then we'll work with them. It's very similar, but it's just we're going to work with double angles. After that, we're going to work with half angles. And honestly, I think the half angles are the ickiest ones. So I'm going to put this up there. There. Ta-da. That is still what things are scheduled, except for the fact that it's definitely not due today because that's today. So 3. There we go. Boop.